there has been criticism on you and your administration for failing to kind of address that rise in anti-Semitism in London in particular, that London has become a no-go zone for Jews. Do you think that there is truth, there's weight to those words?
So it's important to understand the context of what's happened over the last 6 months. I'm somebody who spent my entire professional life trying to encourage particularly minority communities, Muslims and others, to get involved in mainstream politics, to get involved in being active citizens living in a democracy. Now, being an active citizen isn't simply voting once every 4 or 5 years. It isn't just, lobbying your MP or writing a letter. It's also protest. Protest is intrinsic to living in a democracy, right? Speak to those in North Korea or in Russia. They would give their left arm to have the right to protest. And actually, the reason why protest is important is, if you like, if you think about pressure cooker, it's a safety valve. It allows people to vent, express their feelings, and to put pressure, legitimate pressure, on people in positions of power and influence. It also sends a message of solidarity to those under siege in Gaza, whether it's in Rafah or elsewhere. But that protest should be lawful, peaceful, and safe. And so the police will, and I don't apologise for this, the police will take action if somebody breaks the law. That's why protest should be lawful, peaceful, and safe. And the vast majority of people who are protesting, hundreds of thousands in London every few weeks, have been protesting lawfully, peacefully, and safely. A very small minority have been, acting in a way that's not acceptable, and the police have taken action. To suggest the whole of London, 600 miles squared, is a no-go area is simply not true. And I spend a lot of time every day speaking to Jewish friends, neighbours, and colleagues. They don't think London's a no-go area, but some Jewish people are frightened about coming into London on some days. They are anxious, and we should understand that and listen to that concern and anxiety. And so what I'd say to those protesting is, of course, protest, but just be conscious that sometimes you could be saying and doing stuff that may be lawful, but it's scaring people that shouldn't be scared. And so, most of the protests, all the protests in terms of pro-Palestinian, have been coordinated with the police. They work very close together, the protesters and the police. They agree the time of day to start the protest, so the protests start after the Sabbath service, the Shabbat service. One protest was delayed by agreement with the protesters to allow Bar Mitzvah to finish, because what the protesters didn't want to do is cause anxiety to those people celebrating the Bar Mitzvah. So, all I'd say in respectful ways, if people, look at this, in a way that's, dispassionate, people are taking advantage of the democratic rights. The vast majority are behaving themselves, not breaking the law. A small minority, actions being taken against them. But what you wouldn't want to do, surely, is live in a country where protest is banned. A politician could decide which protests take place and which doesn't. Just imagine the consequence of that. It means a politician could say, this protest is allowed because I like the issue. This protest isn't allowed because I don't like the issue. What's next? Telling the police who to arrest. Telling the police who to charge. What's next? Telling the judge who to find guilty. So I think, living in a democracy, there is a tension sometimes. That's why we have a separation of powers. What we've got to make sure we do, though, is don't let anybody feel that they're not welcome into London. And that's why we'll take action against anybody who breaks the law.